Knowledge is the power of transformation and the stimulus to grow towards new goals. To us, universities are the centres of expertise, the places where different criteria, points of view and backgrounds converge to create a common understanding. That is why we formed EUTOPIA. And what does EUTOPIA mean? It means that we are committed to Europe as a generator of shared knowledge and a promoter of culture. Sounds good, doesn't it? We connected 10 universities across Europe to work together to meet the challenges of our time. Open-minded, inclusive and innovative. There are many Europes. Cities, squares, regions, rivers, languages. And by linking them, we overcome borders to generate shared, transversal and transformative knowledge. Our 10 universities seek fertile, visionary and innovative excellence in higher education and research to change the present, crafting a better future. All these concepts are great, but wait until you hear the numbers. Almost 300,000 students, 23,700 academic staff, 17,800 support staff, 874 research groups, 139 faculties connected through 200 communities of all kinds, PhD co-tutels, science and innovation fellowships, Young Leaders Academy, connected communities. And it's only the beginning. We told you it sounded good. By correlating institutions, academics, researchers and students from 10 countries, we strengthen the European knowledge framework while reinforcing Europe's links with the world. Because together, we reaffirm and reinvent a European unity with all its differences, every day. At EUTOPIA, we connect today's academic communities to create the future together and bring on bold and enterprising generations of European citizens. At EUTOPIA, we are changing European higher education.
Buongiorno a tutte e tutti e benvenuti a Venezia.
Benvinguts e benvingudes.
Bienvenue.
Willkommen.
Willkommen. Welcome to Venice.
Welcome to Venice.
It is a pleasure to be here and open this EUTOPIA Week and welcome all of you, rectors, presidencies, representatives of our partner institutions, colleagues, students, and friends. We welcome you to the heart of our university and to the heart of our city of Venice. I'm Agnese, and together with Maurizio, we are truly delighted to host this opening ceremony here in our city, which has always been a crossroads of cultures, exchanges, and ideas.
Dear friends and family, we're gathered here today to celebrate the union of... sorry, wrong card. Well, good morning, everybody. Last time we all saw each other, we were in Warwick. And we all really appreciated the organization there. Your team did a fantastic job. Well done. So, we have some big shoes to fill, and the weather is definitely worse compared to last time. But we hope you had a nice travel, though, and thank you again, everyone, for braving the cold and dampness of Venice to be here with us.
Let us add something from the perspective of those of us who live here, who study here, who research here, who work here. Hosting this EUTOPIA Week in Venice is not only a wonderful honor, but it's also a meaningful opportunity. Venice is a place where many global challenges become evident and tangible way before they do in the rest of the world. Think about climate resilience, think about cultural heritage, think about sustainable mobility. For us, these aren't just abstract themes, they're everyday life, and this is precisely why the presence of EUTOPIA in our city and in our university is so important. Because our alliance brings new perspective and shared solutions to the questions that shape our territories. At the same time, our city can also offer something in return to all of you who came here. Apart from the beautiful sunsets, today I don't know, and the beautiful picture I'm sure you're all going to take, we hope that in the next few days you're going to grasp what Venice has been teaching us for decades, for centuries, which is the true meaning of the word cooperation between land and water, between past and present, between local identity and global openness. Isn't it precisely the kind of Europe, isn't this the kind of international academic cooperation that we want to build here? Well, I think it is. So thank you again for being here, not only for the meetings and the discussions that you're going to have this week, but also, as we are about to hear, for sharing us your perspectives and your hopes with us. I now leave the floor to Maurizio to introduce someone very, very special.
Yeah, today we have plenty of speakers who will share their thoughts on the present and the future of Utopia. We thank each and every one of them, and it will be our pleasure to introduce their contributions to all of you this morning. As you may know, a new chapter of our alliance awaits, and we'll have the chance to talk about that as well. This week, as you can see from the schedule that we share with you, we have lots and lots and lots of lovely meetings. But that's one of the great advantages of meeting each other in person, right? Through our talks, our lunches, our coffee breaks, our dinners, and the activities that we do together, we get to build a meaningful connection and bridges, hopefully as many as there are in Venice, and this strengthens and expands our alliance. It is our pleasure now to welcome Director of Foscari University of Venice, Tiziana Lippiello, onto a stage to offer a welcome, and to read the letter received from the Italian Minister of University and Research, Anna Maria Bernini.
Dear students, you are much more professional than we are. Dear professor, dear colleagues, and friends of Utopia and Utopians, it is an immense privilege to welcome you to Venice and to our Foscari University of Venice for the Utopia Week. A warm welcome to all the presidents of Utopia, and not only to them, to the presidents of other alliances who are with us today. And in particular, I would like to give a special welcome to the newly appointed rector of NOVA, Professor Paulo Pereira. Thank you for being here with us. A warm welcome to the representatives of our Ministry of Education, Director Lavinia Monti, and to Professor Marilena Maniaci from the Italian National Agencies for the Evaluation of Universities and Research Institutes. For centuries, this city, Venice, has embodied the very essence of what Utopia seeks to achieve, a place where diverse peoples gather, exchange knowledge, and build prosperity together. Today, thanks to the pioneering spirit and dedicated collaboration of our 10 partners universities, Utopia is not just a vision, we are indeed working to make it a vibrant, functioning reality. We heard this morning that our priority this year is Utopia more, and we are to get into where we should be this year. We have started with the connected communities because we believe that there is no good education without an excellent research. But our intention is to scale them up into fully developed joint degrees, strengthening the academic bonds across our alliance. Our alliance brings together universities from Romania, Belgium, Italy, France, Germany, Sweden, Slovenia, Portugal, Spain, and we are proud of the United Kingdom. 10 institutions, 10 history, 10 strengths, united by a shared commitment to excellence and societal impact. But what makes Utopia truly forward-looking is not only its European dimension, it is its global vision. Today, we are honored to welcome representatives from our global partners, a network of leading universities across different continents who collaborate with us in research, education, student mobility, and strategic innovation. Their presence reminds us that the transformation of higher education does not stop at Europe's border. It is part of the global conversation on knowledge, sustainability, democracy, and responsibility. Together with our global partners, we are building an academic ecosystem that is international by design, capable of addressing challenges that no single region can tackle alone. However, the rapid success of the European University initiatives brings us new critical questions about our trajectory. This is why we choose the theme for this week, Together into the Future. We are now at a crucial point. By December 2025, the alliances funded through the 2022 call, including EUTOPIA, will enter the final year of the current project cycle. At the same time, we are preparing for the next crucial step, the 26-27 project. This period challenges us to look ahead, not only to safeguard what has been achieved, but to imagine what European alliances can become in the medium and long term. Meanwhile, interest in strengthening the European University Initiative is growing. The existing alliances aim for more structured long-term cooperation and have formed the 4U4All community of practice to enhance collaboration among the existing 64 European university alliances. Additionally, the Future for Alliances project was launched in May 2025. It is coordinated by Campus France and involved several ministries for university and research all over Europe, including the Italian Ministry for University and Research that coordinates one of the work packages. So what is the long-term European perspective? We must define the sustainable political, financial framework for the European alliances. We need a clear, shared understanding of what a European university will mean 10 or 20 years from now. Will it be permanent, integrated institution? How will we ensure its financial stability, independent of temporary funding streams? How can we fully embed the European university model within the national educational systems of all member states? So how do we transform higher education for a sustainable Europe? It is urgent that we engage in this difficult strategic conversation. We, and by we I mean university alliances, member states, and the European Union, must address whether and how we want to go together into the future. And if so, if we are willing to move from implementation to institutionalization of the European university initiatives. So let us use this Utopia Week in Venice to lay down the foundation for the future, ensuring that we continue to move together into the future stronger, more coherent, more impactful, and more European than ever before. Before concluding, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Foscari EUTOPIA office and to all the office of Foscari University for their exceptional work for this Utopia Week. My deepest thanks go in particular to the Utopia Central Office, to our Director General Mattia Bellotti, to Pompeo Fabra and all the staff of the 10 universities, to all colleagues whose professionalism and dedication have made this event possible, to our vice presidents, and to all colleagues who are working at different levels in the 10 universities, and also the global partners, of course. And I just take 2 minutes to thank some of our esteemed partners, the Giorgio Cini Foundation, who hosted the retreat of the presidents yesterday, La Fenice Theatre, and the Circolo dell'Unione di Venezia for their generous collaboration and hospitality, which greatly enriched the experience of the Utopia Week. And I would like to warmly acknowledge our distinguished alumni, Andrea Erri and Andrea Valmarana, who made yesterday possible for all the presidents of Utopia. Thanks to European Commission and to the Italian Ministry of Universities and Research, here represented by Dr. Lavinia Monti, for supporting Utopia, and in particular the Utopia Week. Thank you for your support. We at Ca' Foscari, with our students and our alumni and our professor and administrative staff, have put all our energy into organizing this week. And I sincerely hope that the cultural experience you are enjoying here in Venice became part of our shared European cultural heritage. May the Utopia Week inspire us and the future generation to remain united, to work together with vision and responsibility, and to uphold the values that define our common European future. Thank you. And now I read the message from our ministry. It is a short message, but very concrete. Dear participants of the 12th Utopia Week, dear Rector of Ca' Foscari University, I wish to extend my warmest greetings to all of you and to express my sincere appreciation for the work carried out within the Utopia Alliance. Over the years, Utopia has grown as a vibrant European university community dedicated to inclusion, openness, and innovation. The importance of the European University Alliances cannot be overstated. They embody the very spirit of pan-European cooperation. For Italy and for my ministry, supporting these alliances is a priority. I would applaud for the future. In fact, through the 2022 Erasmus+, the ministry co-funded the Utopia More project, committing significant national resources. This is aligned with our broader internationalization strategy, which aims at strengthening European cooperation as a tool for innovation and inclusion in higher education. The impact of Utopia is felt not only in academic terms, by fostering mobility for students, researchers, and staff, by encouraging joint curricular innovation, and by creating shared space of dialogue. You are building a genuine sense of European community. A fundamental step forward will be the ongoing work towards the implementation of the European degree. This initiative will be a crucial milestone in harmonizing higher education across Europe by enabling students to receive a joint, fully recognized qualification issued collectively by the partner university. The European degree will strengthen academic mobility, simplify recognition procedures, and deepen cooperation among institutions. I fully support this vision, as it embodies the core principle of European integration in education and opens new horizons for students, researchers, and academic staff alike. The European degree label will represent an important initial step. This label will serve as a mark of excellence for joint programs that uphold our values and maintain high standards of quality, multilingualism, and inclusiveness. I sincerely applaud your commitment, your creativity, your dedication. Italy stands ready to continue its support. May this Utopia Week be a moment of inspiration, mutual learning, and renewed determination. Together, you are shaping the European Academy of the future. Thank you, Minister Anna Maria Bernini, Ministry of University and Research. Thank you.
Grazie a lei. Thank you, Rectress, for your wonderful speech. We now yield the floor to the President of the Vrije Universiteit Brussels and Chair of the Utopia Alliance, Jan Dankarte.
Dear colleagues, dear students, dear friends of Utopia, I can say dear Utopians, it's a great pleasure for me to stand here as chair of the Utopia Alliance, and an alliance that that is very close to my heart since its inception back in the days 2018, right after the inspiring speech of President Macron at the Sorbonne. The theme of the week could not be more fitting: together into the future. Today we look ahead, not just for the next funding cycle, of course it's important, or the next project, but also to the medium and long-term future of our alliance and to the vital international role that European university alliances such as ours must play. Our alliance main project, Utopia More, coordinated by our friends from Pompeu Fabra University in Barcelona, remains our main engine for transformation. And I recall the title of Utopia stands for European Universities Transforming to an Open, Inclusive Academy, making organizational and real evolution. And beyond our own alliance, we also contribute to the EU for All community of practice in order to strengthen the collaborations between all 64 European university alliances, and to ensure that knowledge, expertise, and best practice flow freely across Europe's higher education landscape. Because, as the European Commission emphasizes, the European Universities Initiative is not just a project. It is a transformative project, transforming the European higher education area. A long-term goal that sometimes the executive agency seems to forget, but as a side note. 2 years ago, in September 2023, our joint academic opening took place in the hemicycle of the European Parliament in Brussels, and all of our universities were represented by the rectors, and so many of you were there. And on that occasion, I called for a new renaissance, a new European momentum founded on curiosity, openness, and connectedness. And today, as the chair of the Alliance, I would like to repeat right here in Italy, in Venice, in the heart of this jewel of the old Renaissance, this call for a new Renaissance. Because we live in even more confusing and challenging times than 2 years ago. We see polarization, populism, and a growing distrust in science, or also in science. We see political tensions, very bloody conflicts all around the globe, and even on the European continent, and also new walls being built. So we need a new Renaissance built on the same three forces as the original Renaissance that made Europe so great and unique: curiosity, openness, and connectedness. Think of Da Vinci, Vesalius, Giordano Bruno, Erasmus, Galileo Galilei, and I could go on for a while. So it's these forces that turned Europe's diversity into a powerful engine of intellectual and societal growth. And we had a beautiful example of this yesterday at the Opera La Fenice, a musical tale about universal values, in this, in particular, clemency. And I think also clemency would be a value to cherish in the current political, geopolitical landscape. So we need a similar approach today. And today I'm pleased that leading voices in the European Union now speak of science as a fifth freedom, as a necessary and explicit addition to the other four freedoms that found the European Union: the freedom of goods, of services, of people, and of capital. The fifth freedom is the freedom of research, of innovation, knowledge, and education. The fifth freedom is, my dear friends, our core business. A single market and a united Europe cannot exist without it. And if Europe is serious about this fifth freedom, then the European University Alliances, all 64 alliances, must take the lead, as we also do with EUTOPIA. With our alliance of nearly 300,000 students and more than 30,000 staff members, we have a responsibility to strengthen and defend European values, values rooted in democracy, in open society, and respect for the rule of law. Prosperity in Europe has built on science, on cooperation, on research, on innovation, on connectedness, on curiosity, on openness. Through our network, our students and researchers gain new insights. They develop new forms of collaboration that are also facilitated by the digital revolution that we are undergoing, and build the foundations of that new renaissance. So let me turn very briefly to some of the achievements of our EUTOPIA Alliance, and our Secretary General Mattia will surely develop more on that in a moment. I often say this, and I will repeat it again: I'm continuously impressed by the work of our students and academics in the connected communities, as well as the development of the leadership, the research leadership in our Young Leaders Academy, the WILAS. It's these innovations, enthusiasm, and expertise that is driving our alliance forward, and that also continues to motivate me and us as presidents. I had the chance to personally meet some of your students in Brussels a few weeks ago in the context of the EUTOPIA Innovation Challenge. And guided by the connected community on multilingualism and diversity, they tackled challenges on multilingualism, one of these richnesses of Europe, and the challenges that multilingualism poses in the context of sign language, of the medical sectors, of medical urgencies, of the cultural sector, and so on. And I hear their final projects concluding the week took on all shapes and forms. One group even deliverable a multilingual poetry reading. Perhaps it's an idea for the next EUTOPIA Week opening ceremony to have that on stage. And just as we specifically aimed for with our EUTOPIA More project, we see our communities evolving to take on research responsibilities in combination with education. And this is the core of universities' endeavor. Many of our vice rectors for research are present here, or will be present later on in this week, and are well aware, but the submission deadline, for example, of the Marie Curie MSCA actions has passed. And I personally saw at least 3 project proposals passing through my mailbox, one on quantum physics, another on robotics, and another on science diplomacy. Completely different topics, but all pushed forward by our connected communities and or the WILAS, and eager to take their partnerships to a next level. And that's, I believe, also the way to go for the future. So this is where our future lies, formalizing our joint activities, connected communities and other, embedding them even more structurally in our curricula and research practices, supporting our staff, researchers and students according to their needs. In short, empowering them, and by that empowering EUTOPIA to unlock the full potential of our innovative bottom-up and embedded model. Dear friends, together into the future is not only the theme of this week, it's actually what we are building. Let us continue strengthening our alliance, defending Europe's fifth freedom, and shaping the new renaissance for Europe and for the world together. Thank you.
So we have Dr. Vanessa de Bias Santon, Chief of Cabinet of the Executive Vice President, Roxana Mizzato. Vanessa, can you hear us? Is she connected? Good morning, Vanessa. Thank you for being with us.
This is a pleasure to be with all of you. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fabulous, fantastic. Well, do you want me to start?
Yes, I give you the
We
floor.
have just been connected. So.
Yes, we are a bit late, but we want to give you the floor immediately so you don't have to wait. Please.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for inviting me. It is always a pleasure for me, as you know, whenever I am available, to contribute and to participate to these events organized by EUTOPIA and organized by the various European universities alliances. This initiative is very close to the heart of our Executive Vice President, Roxana Mizzato, responsible for education, training and employment. And she strongly believes in the potential of the European Universities Alliances. Not only her, also the ministers responsible for education that she had the pleasure to meet last week during the council meeting. And we have actually discussed the future of the European Universities Alliances, and she could witness the support from quite a good number of countries, as it has been the case from the start. And this initiative is even more important given that education is at a crossroad. Our continent faces a moment of choice. We see geopolitical tensions shaking our security, but also threatening our European values. We see demographic shifts changing the face of our societies. We see climate change threatening our way of life. And we see as well fast technological developments, transforming jobs at a very fast pace, starting with entry-level jobs for graduates. So all these challenges are real, they are complex, they are urgent. And to the Executive Vice President, Roxana Mizzato, the answer is clear. The answer is more collaboration. If we want Europe to remain competitive, if we want Europe to remain united, we must invest in our people, in their education, their talent, in their future ready skills. And that is why the Commission has made education skills development a top priority. In the first 100 days, we proposed our strategy for a union of skills. A union, it is a vision for a union where every European, whatever their age, their background, whatever their competencies, have the chance to keep learning at every stage of their life and to find opportunity. It's about bringing in talent from abroad as well, and it's about something even more important, nurturing the talent we already have right here at home in Europe. And universities have a central place in this vision by bringing together education, research and innovation. They are bastions of critical thinking, academic freedom, and democratic resilience. Yet, with the fast transformation of our society, higher education institutions are at a crossroads to continue to stay fit for purpose and continue being actors for progress and for democracy. So the answer is clear, they need to be stronger together. Stronger together to first defend and protect our European values. And we have seen Erasmus Plus and we have seen European Universities Alliances with the various reports that have been published since the beginning of this year. We have seen the strong potential and the strong impact already after 5 years of the development of these European Universities Alliances to develop a strong European identity, a strong sense of belonging to our European model. And this is why the Commission, with our Executive Vice President, has proposed to increase the Erasmus Plus budget by 50% for the next multi-annual financial framework, with Erasmus Plus as a right. And this proposal goes in that direction. Of course, this is not enough so that everybody can benefit, but it goes in that direction, to be complemented, of course, with other sources of funding, be it from other European funding or national and regional funding. And it supports cooperation in all its forms, including the most ambitious cooperation model, which are the European Universities Alliances. Now, what is important and where we see a key role for these European Universities Alliances is to make higher education fit for purpose and future ready. As I said, the world is transforming. We need as well to ensure strategic autonomy of Europe in a number of strategic domains. And here we see strong needs, more and more, for STEM graduates or graduates in STEM fields, with a STEAM approach, with a multidisciplinary approach. We see the future scientists really closely linked to their readiness for adaptability, flexibility, but readiness to look at challenges in a very multidisciplinary approach, because not a single challenge can be solved thanks to one single expertise. It's a combination of different expertise across different fields that we can address these problems. And it's really important that students can be ready and well prepared for it. So we have proposed a new target at European level so that 32% of higher education students are enrolled in STEM fields, but STEM fields meaning challenge-based fields, answering the most pressing issues that our society is facing, with at least 2 in 5 being female. So we see again a strong role for European Universities Alliances in general to attract also more women in sciences. So it's really a call for alliances to engage with it, but also beyond the STEM fields to prepare all the graduates across all fields of study to be future ready. Today, we see a digital transformation facing our society, and we see every day a fast impact of artificial intelligence. So how do we prepare our future generations to be future ready for a society that is transforming every day? What we hear from the needs of our society is a need for graduates that are AI ready, AI literate, but also be able to think strategically. Now, the new entry-level jobs for young graduates require this AI literacy and this ability to think critically, to continue learning fast in an agile and flexible way. And this ability to adapt is the most skills that is looked for by society and by companies. And we have seen how much students benefiting from European Universities Alliances with this ability to learn through different campuses, through European multi-campuses, to be able to learn by working in multidisciplinary teams, multicultural teams, and during their studies be able to be challenged to work on challenge-based approaches together with companies, their cities and regions. They are well prepared for the future. So that is why we have just launched an Erasmus Plus call to continue supporting the alliances and to provide a budget bridge together with the next MFF. Our proposal under the next multi-annual financial program is to continue supporting successful alliances. We aim at supporting these alliances so that based on their experience of the first 5 years, that they can mainstream the good practices, the best practices into a majority of programs so that a majority of their students can benefit and be future ready. So that is at the top of our political agenda. We have heard alliances needing for moving from a project-based approach to a longer-term approach with a more sustainable vision on what they can expect. So we are working on that together with the services. And we have heard as well for not all, but a number of European Universities Alliances ready as well to invest on their research innovation dimension. To, for example, bring something unique that only alliances are best positioned to provide to implement the New Era Act, which is, for example, to provide a research and innovation ecosystem that could benefit all the researchers that are part of these alliances when it comes to sharing equipment, sharing infrastructure, sharing R&I support for their researchers. This is where we see, one among others, added value that the alliances can bring. That is why we have proposed in the Horizon Europe regulation to provide this possibility to support those alliances that would be ready to provide this support. It would be based on a voluntary approach and competitive approach, for example. We see as well the potential for alliances to provide the talent, the skills that are needed in a certain number of strategic fields, like clean technologies or biotechnologies or defense. And that is why we have also proposed, we have inserted a link as well in the proposal for the legal base on the European Competitiveness Fund, where it could be an opportunity for the alliances to support and further develop their innovation ecosystem and connect their local innovation ecosystems together to reinforce this cooperation between universities and companies and the innovation ecosystem to develop these future-ready programs, joint programs, micro-credentials, and all education training activities. This week, the Commission is going to launch a new EIT higher education initiative of more than 70 million euros that can be used by higher education institutions, including European Universities Alliances, to develop their cooperation with their innovation ecosystem. So I can only encourage you to apply as well as a complement to what you receive from Erasmus+, to develop this cooperation with your associated partners that is currently not funded by Erasmus+. So you see that we see a huge potential in the alliances for the future. So we have a clear vision, as we have presented in the Union of Skills earlier this year, together with a European STEM education strategic plan. We have proposed funding as well, that is now under the next MFF, that is now under negotiation with the member states and with the European Parliament. And we are working as well on top on policy tools to provide to those alliances who see the need to provide a European degree possibility for those who are engaged in developing joint study programs, as well as a legal status for those who want to operate at European level. So all this, we are continuing this work, and we're very happy with the first European Degree Forum that has been organized in Florence on the 21st of November. So this is a continuous work together with you. We are listening to you, and we see our role as supporting you, supporting the progress of the European Universities Alliances to provide the skills and talent that Europe needs at a very crucial moment. So thank you very much. Do not hesitate to continue feeding you with all your ideas, where you see the future, and how we can best support you. Thank you very much. I wish you a fruitful conference.
Thank you very much, Vanessa, for finding the time to be with us online. And I wanted to tell you, maybe you saw in the program that here we have EUTOPIA. It is the EUTOPIA week, but also other alliances are here. So thank you for the useful information for all of us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you
You to all of you.
Next, we are delighted to welcome to the stage the Secretary General of the EUTOPIA Alliance, Mattia Bellotti.
Good morning, and thank you for being here today in this wonderful location here in Venice for this EUTOPIA week. We changed a bit the order of the conversations today, so I'll try also to rephrase my intervention, also to connect better to what has been said from the previous speakers, and also to connect with what we expect later in this ceremony and also later during the week. First of all, and also as our chair was also saying, I'd like to provide a very quick update on the development since we met, since the last time we met with many of you, but of course we also have new people today here in the room. And since last time we met at the EUTOPIA Week in Warwick, which was in the summer of this year, we have continued to consolidate and mature several of the activities of our alliance. From a very much governance point of view, as you all know, we formalized 2 new steering committees, one focused on the educational activities of the Alliance, one on the research and innovation activities, where the respective vice rectors of all our institutions are sitting. And we really hope that with these 2 new committees, we are creating a stronger and also more clear structure that will guide us in delivering our core missions, but also our ambition of creating a college and a EUTOPIA Global Institute. And I think today you also heard in the speech from Vanessa de Biesenton, also on the expectations in terms of the skills that we need to deliver as an alliance, but also of the activities that we can do in the research and innovation dimension. You heard the sharing of research infrastructures, and some of you, the ones that already had the opportunity to review our project proposal for the next future, you already see some of those activities already implemented. But at the same time, and also now I'm connecting to the discussions that we will have here this week, we are really in a pivotal moment. And I'm saying this not because I want to introduce any buzzwords or anything in my speech, because I really believe we are in this moment. We are, first of all, and we've seen it also with some of you this morning in the status update session, we are 3 out of 4 years in the delivery of our core European University Initiative project, which is Utopia More. You know that in the project we have an obligation, of course, to deliver certain activities and certain deliverables as we committed. But more than an obligation, I like everyone to see those as an opportunity to deliver the activities we promise, but also to be able to demonstrate, not to the Commission, but really to ourselves and to our communities, the transformative potential and what we can achieve together as an alliance of 10 European universities and also as 6 global partners who are also very much represented here today in the audience and in the discussion. At the same time and beyond the projects, our community is also continuing to expand. We are engaged in several major research initiatives, for example, the Utopia Health Project, which is already ongoing for a couple of years. But then we are also strengthening collaboration in research, for example, through the own-funded research days, which will happen later on in the week, on Thursday and Friday. And at the same time, and also referring again to the speech of Vanessa de Biesenton, we're also trying to pull together an application, for example, also to the upcoming EIT-HEI initiative, again, also to work and strengthen our activities in the research, and in this case, specifically in the innovation and entrepreneurship domain. Beyond projects, and is also part of the discussions we are having here today connected to the team, Together into the Future, we are also trying to become, as an alliance, an active voice in wider policy discussion at European, in some cases also at the global level. Last week in Brussels, we were very proud to host the Responsible Internationalization Summit, which was part of the activities in our Utopia More projects, where we managed and we were proud to host more than 50 different representatives from different stakeholders, both from university alliances and from other organizations, which we would like to strengthen and connect and work together and be engaged in these policy discussions. At the same time, we are also very much and trying to be involved in the For EU for All community of practice. You have already heard about that also in the previous speeches, and we also have the pleasure to have here today the chair of the General Forum, Professor Beatrice Busse, will deliver a keynote just after my speech as well. And connected to that, we are also very proud to be the host of the first out of 8 workshops that will be organized by the For EU for All community of practice. This workshop will be here in Venice, hosted by Foscari and by EUTOPIA, and will focus on putting the European degree label into practice. We are also in a very crucial moment for what regards the future of the European degree label, and we are really proud to be, as EUTOPIA, to be hosting this discussion together with all the other alliances participating. Looking ahead, both at the program of today, but also in general of the future of our alliance, I think, as I was saying, we are in a pivotal moment and very crucial discussions are ahead of us. First of all, and this is really the focus of the discussions we are having with several of you across all governing bodies, we are defining these days refining and finalizing our strategy for the next 2 years, as we have an important submission for the European Commission on the next projects. And we are really looking forward to hear all the perspectives of the people in the room and the others that did not yet manage to join on the future strategy that we would like to put forward. I think we really need to make very clear and strategic choices for our future, and we need to carefully prioritize the activities. We need, of course, to be bold and really be able to deliver on very ambitious goals, but at the same time, we also need to be focused and realistic and really try to focus all our collective efforts on the activities that can have a greater impact for our universities, for our global partners, and overall also for Europe. And with this, indeed, I'd like to also connect with the overall broader picture and broader context in which we are operating as an alliance. So you've heard it already, we are really in a moment where we have key EU-level discussion on the next multi-financial framework, which really will define the future of the European University Alliances in terms of funding, of course, but also in terms of direction that alliances to take, and in terms also of the activities and the role of alliances in education, research, and innovation for the long-term competitiveness and cohesion of Europe. These debates very much align with what we are discussing today. We have now here, indeed, we touched on several topics during this opening ceremony. And then we will also have later today a roundtable with other representatives from other alliances, also to continue the discussion on the future of alliances. We will then have, and several you already received, we also try to compile what we call a second strategic review report from the central office with the contribution of all partners. Again, we are very thankful for the contributions we received, and we hope also with these reports and the results of this analysis will provide informed decisions and help you in make decisions for the future of our alliance. I'll conclude here, as I know we are also a bit behind schedules, and I really would like to ask everyone to really consider this week as a very key opportunity. A very important moment where we can together set collectively the priorities for 2027-2028, especially considering the long-term goals and long-term vision that we would like to have for our alliance. So once again, I would like to thank the host here in Venice for this incredible organization for this event, and especially I would like to thank everyone here in the room for your continued commitment towards our alliance. And without further ado, I leave the space for the next speaker and wish you all a very productive Utopia week. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I now have the pleasure of welcoming on the floor the president of the Utopia Student Council and also a very special and dear friend, Simone Rizzo.
Distinguished presidents, professor, dear colleagues, dear students, it's an honor to welcome you all to Venice for the 12th Utopia Week. And I would like to start expressing my sincere gratitude to everyone who worked with us to make this week possible, colleagues across our 10 universities, the working teams coordinating the alliance, and everyone who contributed time, energy, and ideas to this common project. A special greeting to our Foscari team, Jorge, Mauro, Roland, Ilaria, Alessia, Laura, Osama, Maurizio, and all the others that over the past month have worked behind the scenes to make this week organization smooth and significant. But above all, a special thanks to our rectress, Professor Tiziana Lippiello, since even when only a few believed in this path, even when the challenge seemed beyond our reach, you championed Ca' Foscari's engagement and not only presence in Utopia, and guided our community with gentleness, integrity, and dedication all over the past years, and we are grateful for that. Today, our entire community is proud of being part of Utopia. The Alliance is becoming an increasingly central and defining element in our identity, shaping not only the way we collaborate across Europe, but also how we imagine the future of higher education. For this reason, this week will be an important moment for all of us, a critical moment. So, over the next few days, we will bring together the leadership of our 10 universities, the working groups that drive our activities, and the many, many communities that give Utopia its shape. For the Student Council, which I have the honor to represent, this means responsibility and commitment. We know that students must not just be present in Utopia, we must be meaningful actors within it. Our responsibility is to give the Student Council clear rules, a stronger internal structure, and the capacity to speak with one coherent voice all over the organs of the Alliance. But structure alone is not enough. Our commitment is to widen participation, to involve more students, to connect more closely with the many, many vibrant student associations across our campuses, and to create accessible pathways for engagement, including short-term opportunities, cross-university activities, and founding mechanism for student-led projects and student-led associations. Together into the future must be more than a slogan. It's a shared vision for our alliance, a vision built on collaboration between professors, students, technical and administrative teams, alumni, local actors, and stakeholders into our territories. Working together means transforming ideas into action, strengthening the connection between the universities and the communities they serve, acknowledging the important role the universities can play and must play as a guide within society, locally, nationally, and across Europe. Therefore, these days in Venice may also serve as a reminder of the vital role universities play in our society. They are not merely centers of learning, they are spaces for dialogue, debate, and democracy. At a time when someone would seek to dictate what can be discussed, taught, or learned, our universities must remain places where ideas are never feared, threatened, or silenced, but are instead heard, discussed, and debated. They are places, they must be places, where ideas can meet, clash, and grow, where the future is shaped not by dogma, but through reasoned and democratic exchange. And as we begin this week here in Venice, we do so in a place that knows and reminds us why this work matters. Venice, as you will see, is a city suspended between fragility and resilience, past and future, innovation and tradition, in a continuous tension of contrast and complexity. And someone said in the last few days, the city, to express this contrast, the city where the pigeons walk and the lions fly, you see. I'm confident that it will inspire you, as it does, with all of us who live, study, and work here. Its history reminds us of our shared European identity. Its beauty reveals the depth and the richness of human creativity, and may the city's ever-shifting equilibrium and vibrant spirit remind us that the future is never fixed. It flows, it moves, and it can be shaped together. Welcome to Utopia Week in Venice. Thank you.
We now welcome to the stage the chair of For EU for All, Beatrix Busse, to deliver an address entitled Cooperation Between Alliances, the Forum of the European Alliances.
Director Lipiello, Director Dankert, dear Dr. Bellotti de Mattia, and dear Simone Rizio, dear colleagues of the Utopia Alliance, and also dear Alliances enthusiasts. First of all, thank you very much for your invitation. It's my pleasure to be here in this amazing building, in this amazing city, and it's also a very great pleasure to talk to you about For You, For All, and what's at stake at the moment for our European University Alliances. We've already heard quite a lot. I try to dive a little deeper in a few aspects of, I think, what we have to do right now. I have been the chair For You, For All for, well, a couple of months now, elected by the Alliances, 70 plus, if we include those who carry the seal of excellence. And I'd like to start with, just a little bit about where I'm coming from, who I am, and then moving, as I said, into what For You, For All is doing. I'm a linguist. I'm a professor of English linguistics, and that plays a crucial role as well. We've just heard how important STEAM is, not just STEM, but also STEAM. And as a linguist, I'm very much in favor of including the humanities just as they are, and the social sciences in everything we are doing, and not just as an add-on to, everything else, the life sciences and so on. I think that's very important. That's my first that's the first statement. I think it's very important. This is one image of my research I do in Brooklyn, New York, where Brooklynites tell different stories about places. And since I've seen in your mission statement of Utopia that you're very much interested in placemaking, I couldn't help but use this image here. Somebody carrying the name of Brooklyn on his back while crossing the Brooklyn Bridge. It's an act of placemaking, and we'll come back to this because storytelling and how we use language will be very important for what is to come for our European University Alliances. I'm also the coordinator of the European University for Wellbeing, and I saw many, many similarities also to your agenda of Utopia. We are soon to be, will be 11 members, and we have dedicated our lives, and I can say our lives, to the well-being of the individual, the society, and the environment. And I guess with everything I've just heard about Utopia becoming an inclusive, creating an inclusive society, there's a lot of what we have in common and what we share, and this is one of the reasons why we cooperate as alliances as well. I'm coming back to that as well. And here's some of the arenas, the research areas, the educational areas we focus on, and among environment, also culture, multilingualism. So there's the point of intersection there as well. We focus very much on teacher education as well as health and well-being, and among this also some transversal themes, of course, on the digital transformation and, for example, AI, to which I will come back as well. And of course, and this is very important for the European University Alliances, not just education, but research. There is no education without research. There is no research without education, and the other way around. So this is very important to stress. Innovation and civic engagement. After all, we are universities, and everything we are doing is for science and Bildung in the German term and in the German Humboldtian sense, and it is for society. Now, for us, and I think this is also something that has been echoed in the speeches I've heard before, it's very important to decide how do we want to live in the future, which models of the good life can we offer and realize. And I think this is very crucial as well also if I look at the mission statements of all the European University Alliances, some of echoes of those questions come up again and again. So how do we want to create our futures, and what is the role of universities and also higher education institutions in shaping our futures, and how can we make an impact? Now, in 4U for All, the community of practice, first of all the alliances, including those who carry the seal of excellence, so we're talking 70 plus right now, we have begun, to really organize ourselves for quite some time now. Now, before we actually got the project for EU for All, the different rounds of alliances had already been organizing themselves in different communities, to discuss the next proposal, to discuss educational offers, also to discuss research initiatives and so on. And out of that, 4EU for All was created as a community of practice, and at the same time also a project currently funded by the European Commission. That's very important. So now we also get the funding to do this, to work together as a community of practice with the objectives you find here: fostering collaboration, disseminating results, and strengthening also the policy dialogue, although we are a community of practice. But in that sense, this probably cannot be really distinguished from one another. And that's very important at the moment due to the situation we are in, also the current situation of this world, and also the pressures on universities and higher education institutions to share our knowledge. These are the objectives. Now, so it's a collaborative and supporting environment, and those of you who work within the 4EU community will have experienced this, and it's fantastic that you are going to host the working groups at the end of this week. This is truly a very supportive and very enthusiastic environment in the same way as each alliance is. I think those of you who work in alliances and who are really infected won't stop anymore collaborating as such, and this is the same for you for all. So, as such, we try to enhance the knowledge, the skills, and also the effectiveness of what we are doing by truly sharing our experience so that not all of us have to do the same thing again and again. This is facilitating learning and the collaboration and also the dissemination of results and the closer cooperation between alliances and also the wider higher education area as well as the research area. That's very important to stress as well, and I'm coming back to that. Now, with regard to the structure, of course, we have a governance structure. We have the communities of practice also realized through the different working groups, the policy dialogue, and then means also to disseminate and communicate our results, and the possibility for all the alliances to communicate their results on the website, for example, and many have used this. So I can only encourage you as well to do that and to use that opportunity. Here is the list of topical groups, and we had applications for our topical groups, and those were selected by the project team. So you can see basically everything or anything that is part of the everyday life of an alliance is part of this list of topical groups. So again, multilingualism is there, and also the European degrees, cooperation with the Ukraine, of course, communication, dissemination, impact, internationalization, and global outreach as well, and also a student-led community. Fascinating. Your work, of course, as well. I know to have this in Uniwell as well, the amazing cooperation and also engagement of students who see purpose, who see meaning in what we are doing in the alliances. And this is, I guess, democracy per se. Library and open sciences, how we share all the, let's say, learning management systems and so on. This is the list of topical groups. Now, what's at stake at the moment? Now, we have already heard, and Vanessa de Vicenton has explained this, we currently have to fight very hard, I would say, for our futures, not just being funded by Erasmus Plus money, and we can be very grateful for Vanessa at the cabinet and also Executive Vice President Minsatu for everything they are currently doing to push our case and also to get not just in touch, but in close contact with DG Research and other Executive Vice Presidents, because this will be crucial for us. I think we shouldn't be justifying anymore that everything we are doing concerns all missions, but I have to tell you, it is still very hard work to convince other executive vice presidents that what European universities are doing is so much more than just education. And I think with that, that's why we have decided, for You for All has decided in a very co-creative way and with the input from all the alliances to write the so-called discussion paper. And it's very important, it's a discussion paper, not a policy paper. And that discussion paper's main idea, core idea, is deep collaboration. It says that what we are doing, what is crucial of European university alliances is this deep collaboration, not just for the sake of collaborating, but as a model for Europe. And not just for Europe as being just a closed job and being very Eurocentric, but also globally engaged. This is the core idea of our discussion paper, and on the basis of that, we have tried to summarize as well as to state for discussion some of our main achievements. We are talking about bringing together over 600 universities in 35 countries, engaging 2,200 partners from the public and private sectors, and representing, now listen, more than half of Europe's students. I mean, what more can we ask for? And we've already heard that we realize the fifth freedom as proposed by Enrico Letta through all missions and with our values, especially the freedom of science and research and science as well competencies, which are the realization of democracy, I would like to claim. So, our discussion paper also should serve as an argumentation ground to show why we are fit for purpose, not just for the Union of Skills and future ready for the Union of Skills, but also for the Competitiveness Fund, and of course, also for Horizon Europe and research activities, not just sharing infrastructure, but actually doing research. And you have just mentioned many examples of what you are doing. I heard a proposal, Marie Curie, on science diplomacy, for example, and robotics. So, I mean, we are simply doing this. So I guess it's very important also because of this model of deep cooperation, which all of the alliances, because of their diversity, realize in a different way. For example, Uniwell goes for a platform model. Other universities, alliances might go for a merger even. This is the diversity, and with the division of labor, this is how we realize the future for and of Europe. That's the main line of argumentation of this paper. Arguing for deep integration through the diversity, also for a next level of integration through deep cooperation as a new partnership model, and arguing that diversity and inclusiveness are bridges across Europe's knowledge square. So we also do science diplomacy for, in our case, well-being, and other missions in a different way. So we are the genuine pan-European ecosystems of talent and knowledge. And it's because of that we not only educate, train, attract, retrain, and retain talent, but as any university, any higher education institution, we generate knowledge, pool complementary strength, resources, and infrastructures, reduce fragmentation, and make Europe's higher education and research systems more attractive and competitive worldwide. But competitiveness always with the combination of excellence and inclusion. Examples there include future-related competencies, living labs, testbeds and citizen participation, mobility, a shared European identity, attract and retain top talents, and partnerships across 43 countries, for example. And with that, also creating new pathways for participation. Also, with regard to being drivers of resilience and competitiveness, we support entrepreneurship and startup creation through incubators, innovation hubs. For example, alliances have developed and now offer 334 entrepreneurship-related courses. We offer internships, I've heard that, and apprenticeships, over 500 co-created courses with nearly 1,000 external stakeholders. So what else can we wish for? And that's why we focus on this deep collaboration aspect. Now, what's at stake now, and what I would like all of you to urge here, is that, as I said, deep collaboration is the key strength. We contribute to the fifth freedom, to the European education area, but also the research area. And what we ask for are the last four adjectives here: long-term support, the holistic approach, if in any way possible, non-directional, if that's possible as well, and flexible support. This is what we have written down in this discussion paper and explained. And we know very much that, of course, non-directional support is a crucial issue if you look at all the topics mentioned in the various documents of the MFF, you know, where some topics, for example, are clearly highlighted and where one can at least, but we have to do this and we have to face this discussion of the freedom of science, and which is our guiding force and the necessities that the world faces at the moment, not just through, I would say, global warming, through the wars that we face, but also a sense of restlessness that we are currently experiencing. So we have then, at a glance in this paper, created a table, because many always ask for, just have a two-pager, just do it in a simple way, so that politicians and others can read fast, and that things become very concrete. So we've done that as well, and it talks about collaboration, mobilities, the curriculum, degrees, research and innovation, and what we contribute. Now, what I'd like you to do now, and what we all have to do in our member states, with our representatives, also with the representatives at the European Parliament and so on, is stress that this paper exists and that it is a discussion paper, not a policy paper, that it was co-created by 70+ alliances, It was agreed on, so I think please spread the word, it's very important. Also, as I said, have a look at this paper with individual members of your own alliance, of course, with the member states, the ministries, representatives at EU level, the students, please, spread the word around your associations, and also that they're your associated partners, because we believe, and you can hear I'm a real alliance enthusiast, this is the future to cooperate. The paper was sent to Executive Vice President Minsato in Sarajevo and their cabinets, as well as their respective Directorate Generals, and also to associations and so on. We are currently collecting feedback. What we hear is that we'll get the meeting with the cabinets. So let's see. Vanessa hasn't said this when she gave her speech, but we're pushing them so that we get this communication. Just a few more facts and figures which you might want to use on education. And there's no harm if a program and then a real mission starts with education. That's really not a problem, because we, just believe that research and education cannot be separated. So look at those figures in just 5 to 6 years, and just collected before the publication of this paper: joint study programs, 331, joint degrees, 104, joint courses, non-academic external stakeholders engaged, challenge-based courses. I mean, this is quite an achievement in itself, and just spread the word. It's also part of this paper, and you should have it via your universities. On the European degree label, last week, or 10 days ago, do you want me to go back? I can do this. So, on the European degree label, 10 days ago, also in Italy. Italy is the place to be right now, but, well, it has been anyway. Now, for the European degree label, discussions again, also in a way, on some of the criteria, and we know we have the resolutions now. We now have to realize this also through the calls that will be coming. We stressed again the freedom of science, of course, and the need to involve the researchers, the need to involve the scientists also to realize the European degree and the European degree label. And this we see in For You For All, and I guess all of us, as an additional pathway for deep collaboration. The criteria, some discuss, I suggested to add AI and also the research baseness as criterion to the list. Also the role of science and scientists, and I talked about quality culture. Can we please talk about quality culture rather than about control, and so on, and simplify accreditation. This is, I think, very important, and I know, again, Italy has been very, very active here. I know some other countries, including my own, are a bit more complicated when it comes to this. And we have stressed that, of course, for the next generation, for skilling and training, for the Union of Skills, the European degree label is important, and also one pathway for deep collaboration. Now, the Florence Pledge is a paper that we have just commented on, which was a result of the Florence meeting to give this European degree label new momentum. And we have the working groups here. So the calls will also be coming in December, I think, or very soon. December has just started today, so they will be coming this month. And I think we should all try to push this with also the caveats in mind, but it's important as an additional pathway. Before I finish, just one more thing I'd like to dive a little bit deeper into, because I think it's crucial for what is at stake for us and where European University Alliances and also the 4U for All, a community of practice, can contribute to. Now, we have heard that skills as well as competencies, and I prefer to use competencies for a variety of reasons, because, well, a competency is not just an output of an input, but includes a process of building and of knowledge and so on. Now, also within the European Commission, there's a lot going on at the moment on AI initiatives. And again, AI is just one technological transformation, one of at least 3 or 4, as the futurist Amy Webb says. She talks about a technological supercycle that also includes connectedness as well as bio initiatives and so on. So you have the Apply AI Act, as well as the RAISE initiative just launched in Copenhagen, a European strategy for artificial intelligence in science, and the ERA action also on AI, to which I think we have, or we should contribute in relation to AI in science, or science with AI, and science for AI, which I think is a field that many of our universities have worked on for a very long time, because AI is not new. And I'm coming back to me being a linguist, so we in linguistics have worked on language models for quite some time. Hence, you need us, and we all need us, and the humanities to work on good prompting, and you need language skills in order to be able to prompt. I'm sorry, so that's very important in all languages, actually. So AI in science, and science for AI. Now, what is at stake, I think, for the role of universities and their meanings to create futures? I think this is at stake. AI is one of the fundamental transformations which affects how knowledge is produced. And AI strikes at the very core of the university's purpose and identity: learning, research, and service to society. So, even if you were to say that the ChatGPT moment is our starting point, that's 3 years ago now, so we might as well get going. Now, for us, well-being and generative AI, some of the observations, it's not a theoretical debate, it's not a construct, it's not new, but it's very important to address this now, because there is the quality that has recently changed as well as the scale. And there's both enthusiasm and skepticism. So, well, this is something we experience in research all the time, so why not use it? Questions, then. Who sets the norms for whom and when? Who decides what good data is? And good data and equitable data, fair data, is our problem, and is what we really can contribute to, because we know what fair data means. From research, we know this. We have the fair data principle. Needs, I would say, an extended interdisciplinarity, a dialogue and trust, and this is now in the RAISE, for example, initiative, highlighted very much by the European Commission, so very laudable there, and education that enables us to do this. So a holistic approach for us at UniWell to connect well-being and AI on the basis of perspectives, AI education, data, mental health, compliance and security, also the humanities, and also a pathway. And just on AI competencies, since this is something that Vanessa mentioned, and I didn't know she would mention this, but I had prepared this anyway, I do think that building up competencies also, and this is something we can also do together as communities, so that we don't, all of us have to do everything the same again and again, by also sharing our courses. And I know many and so on are doing, and many are doing this. So regeneration of roles and expectations, and the possibility also to accept that there are contradictory narratives and discourses about the usage as well as the challenges of AI. And just something, I've worked on this in a book on AI and education, which hopefully will come out very soon in English as well. And we have worked on a number of competencies that relate to data, for example, that relate to also domain-specific aspects. So each individual discipline now has to work on how their field is affected epistemically, ontologically by AI and that transformation, and what data in that context means. So, to conclude, deep cooperation is the future of the alliances. This is our unique selling point, and we claim boldly, and very frankly, we claim that this could also be the model for Europe, Europe's own way, not just copying, not just all about competitiveness, but also about working together and, finding our own path. And there's one aspect I'd like to mention, a book I've recently come across about unreasonable hospitality. It's from a totally different field. It was written by Guidara when he described what it takes in service. He was the owner of a 5-star or 3-star restaurant in New York. He described that when you really have to make a difference, you have to work on unreasonable hospitality. You have to go the extra mile so that people feel the real experience when they are together, when they are working together, when they're co-creating. I thought this unreasonable hospitality is what I experience whenever I work in my own alliance, when I come to those events and I'm invited, and when I work for You for All. It's different from everything else we have experienced so far. This co-creative spirit is different, and also the professionalism and the dedication is different from anything I have experienced before. It's a place-making act because we create identities. And I thought that with that, the cooperation, the hospitality, and the place-making could be 3 terms to be using for our futures. Thank you very much for your attention.
And here we are. Thank you again to all the speakers who intervened today for their wonderful contributions. After all, I'm still a student, so I took some notes. We've talked about the future of the European Universities Initiative, the importance of cooperation between alliances, the ambitions of our institutions, which is quite a journey for a Monday morning before lunch. I can see it in the eyes of some people in the front row. But what clearly emerged is that EUTOPIA is growing and developing in projects, in cooperations, in the number of meetings that you're going to have to schedule to talk about all that has been said this morning. Before we conclude, as you can see, they're clearly setting up something that I'm not going to take part of, but we have one last surprise for you. Before going to this point, I leave the floor to Maurizio for a short intervention.
Yeah, before our closing musical performance, which I guess we've all been waiting for, as someone who's lived in this city for 6 years now, I would like to share some advice with all of you to have a nice and safe experience in this Airbnb wonderland that they call Venice. So number 1, beware of seagulls. They look like big white birds, but they're actually spawns of the devil himself. They will come for your slice of pizza and your soul next. So I really encourage you not to walk around with food in your hands, because they will attack you. So make sure you protect your sandwiches and your children, because you're not getting a new one of either, all right? Number 2, streets in Venice are narrow, all right? So please walk on the right side of the road. people here have stuff to do and places to go, and Venetians are usually in a hurry. So stay on the ride if you don't want to get pushed. But don't step on the green stairs next to the canals, because that's algae, it's very slippery, and you don't want to fall into the filthy Venice water and get a lifelong eye infection like Katharine Hepburn got in the 50s. So, doesn't matter how pretty you think that picture will turn out, I promise you it's not worth it. And number 3, Venice isn't by far one of the most dangerous cities in Europe, especially compared to Birmingham. But there might be pickpockets around the railway station, Rialto, and St. Mark's Square. So keep your bags closed and your belongings safe, or you might lose your wallet in the same way you might lose your sandwich.
I wish someone told me that when I first arrived in Venice to study, but we had to discover it on our own, so he's doing a huge favor to everyone who's visiting. So we're now going to close this opening ceremony with a live performance. Obviously, I think you had a little spoiler behind me. We conclude with the reading of Valeria Rieti's piece, The Things That Fall. Valeria is a brilliant student from Foscari University. The text that you're going to hear this morning was a finalist in one of Italy's most important literary prizes, Premio Campiello. So I'd say we should have a little applause for Valeria. The text, the voice you're going to hear, which will be read by Cristina Stermole, is the voice of a brother who's telling in a very emotional and touchy way the story of his and his brother who's facing the journey of an illness. So it's a very touchy and very emotional piece, and it's going to be accompanied by the Foscari Orchestra, who is going to perform the Largo from Georg Philipp Stellmann's Concerto for 3 violins and orchestra in F major. Enjoy.
It's rained. The sky's undone, as if rubbed out with an eraser. The cobblestones are scattered with puddles. You walk through them, cradled in the hollow space between one leap and the next. The marble cherub gazes down at the same water as always, smiling with its stone-plump cheeks. The woman, too, stale, immense. I follow your aimless steps, consecrated to nothingness. A milky glimmer spreads beyond the steel-gray sky. Life begins to stir, shrugging off the darkness like a drowsy giant. The first busy bodies emerge. Commuters, street sweepers, cleaning the world only so it can be dirtied again. A paper wrap, a can, the stub of a cigarette. We contemplate the forming of the spectacle in the coalescence of our breaths. Ours is a blink that destroys the world and recreates it each instant, again and again. Your steps are not empty, they reach towards a precise point in the world. You devour every distance and I follow you. The overpass is crossed only by the odd car. Nothingness itself holds it up like a tightrope. The birds take their first bites of light, rustling branches and leaves. It's all a perpetual losing and reaffirming, taking and retying, gathering and unfolding. There's a latent hunger in everything, a formless fragility at its core that still asks to try, to attempt. We cling to the iron rail that separates us from the void, and we look like two things struggling, Flavio. You look at me, smile, a smile that melts the heart. Yours is the peace of one who knows the answer to a question never even asked. You lean into the void. You know you'll have to return there. You feel it in every nerve. You breathe everything in, the first light, your feet, your hands, the pavement, your lungs, everything. The world is more intimate to you than you are to yourself. That puddle of mud, that iron sky, they are more intimate to you. It's a blow below the belt, a marvelous thing. You understood this is it. There's nothing else. The rest is just a tangle meant to grant you the gasp in your throat when you'll have managed to escape it. And you'll understand it was nothing, that it was all in your head, that it was all there, and nowhere else. I should scream, grab you, lose my temper, drag you back down with me. I should fight. Instead, I lower my eyelids, close my eyes. I catch every one of your breaths, every step, every gulping down. You scatter my darkness with sound, spreading it without order, tracing a path. You are what I open my eyes to. You're here and it feels like you've always been. Your gaze, dirty with life, is fixed on a point, one single point. You're there and I know nothing really ends. Somewhere beneath the soil, above the sky, there exists something always safe. Light bursts over you, against your pale skin. You whisper something under your breath. You do it so often. I'd recognize the way you do it among 1,000 voices. You pour every bit of breath your body possesses into the first words, without weighing them, running out halfway through the sentence. You have to break it off, stop, begin again. Then you press your lips together, breathe in as if before a dive, gather all the oxygen you need. You open your mouth wide, repeat the last word you spoke, tying it back with an invisible knot to the one you left hanging. You've just done it. You whisper something to yourself. You stop, stare at the tips of your shoes, and smile at the pavement. You're the softest fiber of the universe, and still you find the strength to smile. You're the thing closest to breaking away from this world, and you thank it. You know that if the monster is inside you, you can't run. In fact, there's no running away, Flavio. We won't run. It'll fester like rust. We'll learn to live quietly. You've embraced it the way you somehow managed to embrace everything. Your eyes cling to mine. You look into my soul. You say, you're hungry. You whisper it as if it were a secret, something unspeakable, an astonishing discovery. It's not so early anymore. They've probably started serving breakfast at the hospital. We should let go of this railing, release our grip. We should, but we're so attached to this world. Everyone is. In everyone, there's a moment when all one yearns for is a remedy, a cure, a shelter. They hush themselves into the nook of the world and they defend it tooth and nail. They beg to die in peace, eyes emptied, heartbeat slowed. They draw their knees to their chest in silence, in space, in time, in all that was promised to us at the beginning, in our mother's womb, curled up on ourselves, promised to life. Like you did, like the nurse told you to. Breathe in, breathe out. Empty your lungs, let everything in. Imagine a thread tied to your tailbone like a string, an umbilical cord. They beg to be able to cling to the end at the height of it, in the drip of the last moments, to love and plead with flesh and bone, to be able to say they did what they could. But only then can one erase the guilt of having broken away and believed oneself something, someone, only by disappearing. In silence, head bowed, placid, grateful, returning. Giving oneself back to something vast, vaster. Moment by moment, a mocking God recreates everything anew. Everything lets go, and tired, congealed, it falls. You land on the pavement in a puddle that mirrors the sky. You let yourself stumble through shreds of cloud, trace a smile on a muddy windscreen, find a world in the dirt. You shorten the space between us, draw near. One step, then another. I leap. You hug me, soaking me to the bone. Your arms don't quite reach around my hips. You're something tiny, 4 bones tied to life. And yet I know you'll stay. You're something always safe, Flavio. Everything begins and ends, but I know that when I turn around, you'll still be there. Among the ruins, the scraps, the remnants, along the edge. I lower my gaze. You're there. You've always been there. Bent over the world, cheeks flushed, the usual bite of tongue between your lips, a wax crayon in your hands.
Thanks again to the Foscari Orchestra for their wonderful performance, and thanks again to our reader and for the emotion she put into the text of Valeria.
Yes. We'd like to leave you a few reminders. First one is your badge. Bring it with you, because we know that it's you and we can let you in the buildings.
And then, as you can understand, this is the end of the opening ceremony. We hope you all had a wonderful time. We shall now head to the lunch, which will take place exactly where you had your coffee break this morning, so in the sede of Ca' Foscari Centrale. Thanks again and have a lovely day.